Testing, testing. And mic's going. I think we're good. Alright. So we're going to start the show here. Not much to say here at the top of the pre-show. Yeah. Not much going on. It's been snowing. And it snowed more again today. There's not really much I can do outside. Not really much I want to do around town, so just gonna here, spent the weekend, just watching shows and stuff like that. Testing. Alright, let me check something real quick here. Testing. Sometimes it's good to be paranoid. Let's see here. I'm sitting here waiting for the raw files here. See, and there it is. Okay. As long as I know the mic is working. That's all I need to know. Alright. We are ready to go. Sci-fi. Stream Deck setup. Lights are on. Cameras are on. Camera 1. Blink. Camera 2. Camera 1. Camera 2. Camera 1. Camera 2. Even though I don't really use camera 2, but it's there. Alright. Like that. Push record here and get ready. Okay. 1, 2, this is how we do. Tonight, Spiner fictionalizes himself, stamps for droids, award nominations, and remember actor Christopher Plummer and Cloris Leachman. All that and more on the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 112 of Multiverse Tonight. I'm your host, Thomas Townley. And big news for the podcast. We just passed over 5,000 downloads, oddly enough. It's funny because the two biggest episodes are ones that have like titles that are based off of songs. So I guess Spotify just brings those up when people request those songs. So they're not. I don't know how to feel about that or how to download that. I heard that it's a snowy day here in the Great Plains. Very cold too. It's down to the teens. And glad I don't have any place to go today. It was really snowy this past Saturday, so I took Saturday off. So I've basically been spending this past weekend catching up on things on Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. So I guess the good thing there is it did allow me to have more time to finish my script. The laptop I normally use to write the script on had a USB port problem, so I had to send it back to Dell to get worked on. Luckily, it was still under warranty, so they're working on that. So I hope to get that back by the end of the month. Apparently, they're having parts issues too. So let's see what's in the news today. Let's start with Star Trek news. And we start Star Trek news. There we go. We start Star Trek news today with Star Trek Discovery's fourth season now deep in production, and some tidbits about what the fourth season might have via a panel with showrunners Alex Kurtzman, Michelle Paradise, and star Sonequa Martin Green. Now, Kurtzman's tidbits were very cryptic. He just said, quote, We're actually exploring whether we're diving deep into science in the fourth season in a kind of new and interesting way," unquote. Now, he also said that season 4's main adversary might not be a living thing, and said that season 4 will see the return of the Federation in some way. I'll take it for what it is. I just don't know whether I can give them another season. I was so I was hopeful about the third season. The third season seemed to be doing okay, and then it just became a Michelle Burnham. It all hinges on Michelle Burnham show, and that's just, I'm getting tired of that. So hopefully in the fourth season they actually do some exploration. In the fourth season it doesn't all come down to just Michael Burnham. I'm glad that she's finally captain, but maybe we can have this all come down to someone else. Anyway, Brent Spiner is currently writing his memoirs, sort of. His book will be entitled Fan Fiction, a Memoir inspired by true events. Now, this book has Brent creating another character that happens to share his name and much of his experiences. This version of him, however, takes the reader back to 1991 and throws the character into a dark, comedic adventure full of mystery, intrigue, and humor. Now, in an interview with Sci-Fi Wire, Mr. Spiner said about the book, quote, "It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it's primarily fiction. There's slices of my own life in it, and then there are also people I have known. It's a mashup. It's a thriller, it's a comedy, it's a dark comedy, and it's partially a memoir, but none of it's real. Really, even though a lot of things actually happened," unquote. So, I guess the question there is, why write the memoir this way? So Brent had an answer to that. He said, quote, "I thought maybe I can write something else because I have a story I'd like to tell. Maybe I can combine the two and do a sort of hybrid," unquote. Now, he ran the idea past Jonathan Ames, creator of Bored to Death, and he connected Brett with Janine Darst, who collaborated with him on the book. Fan fiction, a mem noir inspired by true events, comes out on October 5th, 2021. Star Trek Online is celebrating its 11th year with its latest update titled House Reborn, which has 2 new episodes finishing off the current Klingon Civil War, along with the episodes with new voice work from Mary Chieffo and Sam Witwer. Captains will also discover a brand new Klingon recruitment system, a special anniversary event to earn the new Allegiance Tamir Raider, and a complete revamp of the Klingon experience, including remastered environments, missions, stories, and much more. Plus, for the first time ever, Star Trek Online will allow players of all factions to command any ship. House Reborn is available today on PC and will release soon on PS4 and Xbox One. And with that, we go on to the Star Wars news.
Roger, roger.
Don't grow nose hair, people. I'm just going to say that at the top here. Hold on a second. Anyway, we start Star Wars news with actress Daisy Ridley, who was emotionally spent after filming wrapped up on The Rise of Skywalker. Speaking with People magazine in the conversation, the actress said, quote, "When we wrapped The Rise of Skywalker, I wept all day. I felt like I was going to pop a vein because I was crying so much. Obviously not to say that it was like grieving, but it was grieving something. I'll always have it, and we're all bonded by this incredible thing," unquote. Now, other actors have expressed similar feelings after their stints in the Star Wars franchise. Life Day celebrations across the galaxy are showcased in a brand new book from authors Kevin Scott and George Mann, with art from Grant Griffin. Kevin told StarWars.com about the book, saying, quote, "Winter festivals are all about hope in the darkest times, about being surrounded by family and friends. What is more Star Wars than that? When I made the original pitch for the book, Lucasfilm Publishing creative director Mike Siglin suggested that we bring George on board, as he had already produced 2 wonderful books of Star Wars folklore, Myths and Fables and Dark Legends. Teaming up made total sense, especially as George and I have a long history of working together. Who wouldn't want to make up Christmas stories with one of their best mates? Of course, our friendship was severely tested when I insisted on playing Christmas in the Stars, the galaxy's greatest festive album, on loop during our work sessions," unquote. The tales range from the High Republic era to the Ewoks and Endor. Life Day Treasury Holiday Stories from a Galaxy Far, Far Away arrives on shelves September 7th and is available for pre-order now. The next season of The Mandalorian is set to get in front of the camera this April. According to the Film and Television Industry Alliance, the site says that the first day of shooting is April 5th in Los Angeles. Of course, with the pandemic restrictions, it may or may not get pushed back. Your mileage may vary. The United Postal Service is bringing the droid of Star Wars onto postage stamps. The new set of 10 stamps includes droids IG-11, R2-D2, K2SO, DO, L337, BB-8, C-3PO, a Gonk droid, 21B surgical droid, and Chopper. Now, the droids are intended to be a nod to Lucasfilm and Disney's effort to promote science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM education, through the continuing collaboration between Star Wars, Force for Change, and global pre-K-12 nonprofit organization FIRST. The stamps should cost $5.50 for the set. Ring creator Jon Favreau hadn't initially planned on using Luke Skywalker in the season finale. Favreau told the Writers Guild of America about the use of the Jedi if that penned him in narratively speaking. He said, quote, "We have a tremendous amount of freedom afforded to us because of the gap in time between the films. Dave Filoni and I are in constant discussion regarding how each story choice is impacted by and would impact existing Star Wars material," unquote. Now, who knows when Season 3 will be. But we'll look out for it. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga will have a playable cast of at least 300 characters. Just about every character is available to play, including minor franchise characters like Babu Frick and more. According to Game Lead Hub designer Don McDermott, TT Games has packed around 800 characters in the game, which spans all 9 main films. McDermott also teased, quote, a in-depth quest system which features not only more elaborate and ridiculous quest chains, but a whole new tracking system on your datapad with which to engage with the quest and the ability to do multiple quests simultaneously, unquote. Now, LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, will be released this spring via the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, PC, and Nintendo Switch. And with that, we'll go on to the geek news. Now, we start geek news with a mint Black Lotus card from Magic the Gathering's original set, which has sold on eBay for a winning price of $511,100, beating the previous record price set for the card back in 2019 when one sold at auction for $166,000. The Black Lotus card was found to be too powerful in its initial release and was never reprinted in subsequent editions of the game, leading to its ever-increasing value. I wonder who has money to buy a single Magic the Gathering card. That's just amazing if you ask me. The Willow Disney Plus series has found a new director following the departure of John M. Chu. John Entwistle, whose previous director credits include the Netflix shows The End of the Effing World and I'm Not Okay With This. He will run the pilot episode as well as serve as executive producer. Now he'll join fellow EPs and co-showrunners Jonathan Kasdan and Wendy Merkiel. Entwistle told The Hollywood Reporter, quote, "With its epic world of swords, sorcery, and adventure, Willow captivated and influenced so many. I'm excited to be going on this journey and working with John and Wendy to create something that is both deeply rooted in that original film and also a fresh, funny, and charming addition to the beloved story. To be able to play with the world so painstakingly crafted by Ron back in '88 is a dream come true for me," unquote. Now, filming is expected to begin this spring in Wales, but no premiere date has been revealed yet. It's been a long time since I've sat down since I've watched that movie. Wonder how well it holds up. George Clooney has joined the Buck Rogers reboot series. Now, Clooney will produce and maybe star in the revival from Legendary Productions. Now, the current plan is to first develop it as a comic book miniseries from Brian K. Vaughan, and then do a movie and an animated spin-off on down the road. Bitty. Now, we have some award nominations that came out over the weekend. The 32nd Annual GLAAD Movie Awards nominees have been announced. Now, up for Outstanding Film Release are The Craft Legacy and The Old Guard. Outstanding Drama Series include Killing Eve, Star Trek Discovery, Supergirl, The Umbrella Academy, and Wynonna Earp. And Outstanding Comedy Series nominees are Big Mouth, Harley Quinn, Saved by the Bell, Schitt's Creek, and Superstore. Outstanding Video Game nominations for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Borderlands 3, Guns, Love and Tentacles, Bugsnax, Hades, If Found, I Can Fell, Immortals Phoenix Rising, The Last of Us Part 2, Tell Me Why, and World of Warcraft Shadowlands. Outstanding comic book nods went to Empire, Lords of Empire, Emperor Hulking, Emperor Aftermath Avengers, and Far Sector from DC Comics, Guardians of the Galaxy from Marvel Comics, Juliet Takes a Breath from Boom Studios, Lois Lane from DC Comics, The Magic Fish by Random House Graphic, Suicide Squad from DC Comics, Wind by Boom Studios, X Factor from Marvel Comics, and You Bought Me the Ocean from DC Comics. We hope that those awards get out, you know, for to the right to the all of the nominees. Yeah. A direct sequel to J.J. Abrams' produced 2008 Cloverfield is in the works. Abrams' Bad Robot and Paramount Pictures have picked rising British writer Joe Barton to pen the script, which will not be made as a found footage movie like the uh, previous movie. Abrams will produce alongside Bad Robot's head of film, Hannah Minghella. Now, more video game news here. Animal Crossing's New Horizons has sold 31.18 million units worldwide, according to Nintendo, and is approaching Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's throne as the best-selling game on the Nintendo Switch. Mario Kart still has a lead, though, of about 2 million copies. I love Animal Crossing. That's one of my daily drivers, if you will. It's one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning is go and hunt my fossils. Now, the Golden Globe nominations were also released. Now, up for Best Television Series in a Drama are The Crown, Lovecraft Country, The Mandalorian, and Ozark, as well as Ratched. Best Animated Film nominations for The Croods, A New Age, Onward, Over the Moon, Soul, and Wolfwalkers. And Best Original Score for Alexandra Desplat for The Midnight Sky, Ludwig Göransson for Tenet, James Newton Howard for News of the World, Trent Reznor, Atticus Ross, and John Batiste for Soul, and Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross for Mank. Yeah. So congratulations to all those genre nominees, and we'll see them get their awards later on. Some sad news. We got a trio of sad news here. First off, Star Wars actress Trisha Noble has passed away. The actress is best known for playing Jubal Nabri, the mother of Padme Amidala, she passed away from complications from mesothelioma, which is a type of cancer caused by the inhalation of asbestos fibers. She was a teenage pop star in the 1960s in Australia, and she acted in shows like The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Columbo, and Buck Rogers. She was 76 years old. And we also have Christopher Plummer has passed away. The Canadian actor was born on December 13th, 1929. He had an acting career spanning 7 decades. He made his film debut in 1958 in the movie Starstruck. Soon afterwards, he would get the role that would make him world famous, that of Captain Greg Von Trapp George Von Trapp in 1965's The Sound of Music. He acted in a total of 119 movies in his life, including The Return of the Pink Panther, The Man Who Would Be King, Murder by Decree, Somewhere in Time, Dreamscape. He voiced the character in An American Tale, Dragnet, Where the Hear'id, Rockadoodle, Where the Heart Is, Where Rockadoodle, the Shakespeare, and a big turn as the Shakespeare quoting Klingon General Chang in Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country, Malcolm X, Dolores Claiborne, 12 Monkeys, Dracula 2000, A Beautiful Mind, National Treasure, Inside Man, the voice of the villain in the movie Up, the voice of one in the animated movie 9, the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, the Girl in the Dragon Tattoo, All the Money in the World, the victim Harlan Thrombey in the recent movie Knives Out, and much, much more. He has an upcoming voiceover role in the animated movie Heroes of the Gold Masks, which will be released this year. Now, he also made appearances in TV, mainly TV movies and miniseries like The Thornbirds, and he did play the role of Alexander Addington in the 90s TV series Counter-Strike, as well as the narrator for the animated Madeline series. He won 25 awards in his career, including an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor, a Golden Globe Award, a BAFTA Award, and many more, and much for the movie Beginners. He also had 2 Primetime Emmy Awards and 2 Tonys, and was named to the Order of Canada. Mr. Plummer was married 3 times and had 1 child, actress Amanda Plummer. Christopher died at his home in Connecticut after suffering complications from a fall. His longtime friend and manager said about him, quote, Chris was an extraordinary man who deeply loved and respected his profession with great old-fashioned manners, self-deprecating humor, and the music of words. He was a national treasure who deeply relished his Canadian roots. Through his art and humanity, he touched all of our hearts, and his legendary life will endure for all generations to come. He will forever be with us, unquote. Christopher Plummer was 91 years old. And finally tonight, remember actress Cloris Leachman. Cloris might be known to fans like us as Frau Blucher.
I am Frau Blucher.
Steady! Hockenstein, this is my assistant. Inga, may I present Frau Blucher?
Now, that was from Young Frankenstein, as well as Madame Defarge in Brooks's History of the World, Part 1. Cloris was born in Des Moines, Iowa on April 30th, 1920. She began appearing in local plays as a teenager and went to Northwestern University. After competing in the 1946 Miss America pageant, she secured a scholarship to study at the Actors Studio in New York and made her professional debut in 1947. Over her career, she has appeared in such movies as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, The Last Picture Show, for which she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress, Mel Brooks' High Anxiety as Nurse Diesel, The Muppet Movie, Herbie Goes Bananas, My Little Pony the Movie, Hansel and Gretel, Prancer, The Beverly Hillbillies, A Troll in Central Park, Beavis and Butthead Do America, The Iron Giant, The Longest Yard, Sky High, A Scary Movie 4, Beer Fest, The Croods and The Croods A New Age, and many, many more. She has 2 posthumous movie releases coming, High Holiday and Not to Forget, due out this year. Now, she had a lot of television credits as well. That list is just as long, including Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Gunsmoke, Lassie, Rawhide, The Twilight Zone, Wagon Train, Perry Mason, The Virginian, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Night Gallery, Rhoda, Wonder Woman, The Love Boat, The Facts of Life, The Simpsons, The Nanny, Touched by an Angel, Malcolm in the Middle, The Ellen Show, Family Guy, Phineas and Ferb, Dancing with the Stars, Raising Hope, Adventure Time, Girl Meets World, Bob's in 2011, and published her autobiography in 2009. She is survived by her sons Adam, George Jr., and Morgan, and daughter Diana. Cloris Leachman died of natural causes on January 26th. Cloris was 94 years old. And that brings us to the end of the sci-fi news. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money, check out the show notes and visit our TeePublic store. Just head over to the brand new multiversetonight.com and hit the Support Me tab at the top of the page. If you're a subscriber, hey, share us with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, thank you. And please be sure to subscribe. Leave us with some feedback and let me know how we're doing. Special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Now, thanks for watching the sci-fi edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in just a couple of days with a brand new comic book edition, and 2 weeks with a new sci-fi edition. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions. Copyright 2021. All rights reserved. In the Cloris Leachman stuff, I had that clip set up. For some reason, I lost the button. Yeah. That's sometimes how it goes. Like, it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, just press the button here on the setup here. to get that clip up. I always loved Cloris Leachman and Mel Brooks productions. She was always a treat. Now, we get to go on to the comic book edition. Excuse me. Comic book edition might actually be longer than the sci-fi edition today. Okay. We're all set up. There we go. Tonight, the Sandman gets cast, Selma Hayek is Eternal, Uno the movie, and remember Mark Wilmore and Dustin Diamond edition of Multiverse Tonight. Comic books, sci-fi, fantasy, and more. If you're looking for a roundup of geeky news, you're in the right place. This is Multiverse Tonight. And here's your host, Thomas Townley. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 113 of Multiverse Tonight, the comic book edition. I'm, of course, your host, Thomas Townley. Now, I don't really have much to say at the outset of the show here. We did get some convention news the past few weeks. Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City has been pushed back yet again. Of course, that way they'll get things done. We'll get more people vaccinated. I got my first vaccination a few weeks ago, and now I'm waiting for the second vaccine shot at the beginning of March, which I hear is the worst one. So that'll be something to look forward to. So other than that, not really much to talk about at the top of the show here. Let's go on to the DC comic news. Now, we begin DC Comic News this time with a little announcement about Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. It now has an official release date on HBO Max. The 4-hour-long movie will drop on the service on March 18th. Again, still not looking forward to a 4-hour-long movie. Think I'll cut it down into bite-sized chunks for my viewing. However, one character in that movie, of course, Superman, some people hoped would show up in the next Shazam movie. Well, Variety hates to ruin that parade, but Variety is reporting that Henry Cavill's Superman will not be appearing in Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Now, according to two sources with direct knowledge of the production and Henry Cavill's schedule, say that Cavill might be returning to the role at some point in the future, but it won't be for Shazam. Netflix's The Sandman series has cast some roles. The series, based on the Neil Gaiman comic of the same name, will be led by Tom Sturridge as Dream, Lord of the Dreaming, and he'll be joined by Gwendolyn Christie as Lucifer, Vivian Ekempong as Lucine, Chief Librarian and Trusted Guardian of Dream's Realm. Boyd Holbrook will play the Corinthian and escaped nightmare who wishes to taste all that the world has in store. Charles Dance will play Roderick Burgess, a charlatan blackmailer and magician, and Asim Chandri as Abel and Sanjeev Bhaskar as Cain. Neil Gaiman, in a statement, said, quote, "For the last 33 years, the Sandman characters have breathed and walked around and talked in my head. I'm unbelievably happy that now, finally, they get to step out of my head and into reality. I can't wait until the people out there get to see what we've been seeing as dream, and the rest of them take flesh, and the flesh belongs to some of the finest actors out there. This is astonishing, and I'm so grateful to the actors and all of the Sandman collaborators, Netflix, Warner Brothers, DC, to Alan Heinberg and David Goyer, and the legions of crafters and geniuses on the show for making the wildest of all my dreams into reality." Now, some people might be wondering why Gwendolyn Christie is playing Lucifer instead of Lucifer's Tom Ellis. Now, Mr. Gaiman explained this in a post on Tumblr, saying, quote, "The theology and cosmology of Lucifer is a long way from Sandman's. It's inspired by Sandman, but you can't easily retrofit the Lucifer version to get back to Sandman, if you see what I mean. It seemed easier and more fun to have the Sandman version of Lucifer be, well, much closer to the Sandman version of Lucifer," unquote. We'll see how well Gwendolyn Christie does in the role when the series comes out. Now, there's some more Sandman news. Now, this time it's on the Audible original version of it. Audible has renewed the audio adaptation for 2 more seasons. Now, they'll be titled The Sandman Act 2 and The Sandman Act 3, and will continue to adapt the comic book series written by Mr. Gaiman. The second installment will cover the storylines Season of Mists, Distant Mirrors, A Game of You, and Convergence, with the third installment adapting Brief Lives and World's End. Dirk Maggs will return to direct, and Gaiman will return to narrate and serve as creative director and co-executive producer. Now, according to Audible, the first installment broke their record for most pre-orders of any Audible original title and is the best-selling Audible original in company history. Now, we spoke about Shazam! Fear of the Gods a few minutes ago, and we have learned that they'll begin filming this May, according to actress Megan Good. Now, Megan, who plays the superpowered version of Darla in the movie, told the Carlos Watson show that, quote, "God willing and by the grace of God, Shazam 2 starts in May," unquote. Now, that early production start might be due to the fact that the young stars of the movie are growing up as we speak, so they want to shoot before they completely age out of their roles. Shazam! Fear of the Gods is due in theaters in 2023. According to Nielsen, Wonder Woman 1984 dominated the eyeballs of people during the week of Christmas 2020. The movie received 2.3 billion minutes of viewing time during the 6-day period, which breaks down to roughly 14.9 million views. The movie is now off of HBO Max and as part of Warner Media's model for same-day release. Now, there's no word on when it will return. Now, I have feelings about that. You can go back a few episodes to get my feelings about Wonder Woman 84. But let's just go on to the Marvel news. And we begin Marvel news with Marvel Studios' Blade movie, which now has a name and a writer. The film, according to The Hollywood Reporter, will be called Blade: The Vampire Slayer, and will have Stacy Osseff-Kuffour penning the script. Now, Stacy is a playwright who was story editor and writer for the Watchmen miniseries on HBO. She'll be the first black woman to write a Marvel movie. Mahershala Ali is attached to star. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is set to start filming in the United Kingdom later this year, as soon as James Gunn is finished filming the Peacemaker series. Now, not much is known about the sequel other than part of the story will center around Rocket Raccoon's backstory. Spider-Man star Tom Holland is calling his third solo Spider-Man movie, quote, "the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made," unquote. Now, speaking with Variety.com's Awards Circuit podcast, when asked about it, if there was anything he could tell them about the film, he said, quote, "I can say that it's the most ambitious standalone superhero movie ever made. You sit down, read the script, and see what they're trying to do, and they're succeeding. It's really impressive. I've never seen a standalone superhero movie quite like it. And I'm just, again, that lucky little bleep who happens to be Spider-Man in it. We got a lot more shooting to do. We started before Christmas and shot for like 7 weeks. We stopped for the Christmas break, and then we're starting again. I'm just as excited as everyone else to see it, let alone be a part of it," unquote. Now, he also told them that he would like to direct one day. Now, speaking of Variety podcasts, on their podcast Just for Variety, host Mark Malkin talked with actress Selma Hayek about the Eternals movie. Now, Selma will play Ajak, the leader of the Eternals. Selma told Mark that she was very excited to be in a Marvel movie and getting to work with director Chloe Zhao, although she didn't know anything about the Eternals and that she was quite scared. Was, quote, scared, but it didn't matter because, quote, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you why I didn't care. I love the director. She's brilliant. And then I like that Ajax is kind of the leader. She's the only one that can talk to the Celestials. And I'll get to be bossy on this one too. I can play that. Giving instructions, telling people what to do, I can do that. Then I was afraid of the outfit. I'm claustrophobic. I was very afraid that I was going to feel like I couldn't move. It has completely different DNA from the other Marvel movies. It's shot differently than all the other ones. It's in real locations, and they found some crazy extraterrestrial looking locations. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about what they do with the camera, but it's not mostly done in post. The cinematography is incredible," unquote. Now, she also said that she even does her own stunts in the film. Now, when asked about the craziest stunt, she talked about doing cool stuff with the wire and things on Eternals. Eternals is currently set to come out this November. A new Marvel series has been announced for Disney+. This time, we're going back to Wakanda with a Black Panther series called Kingdom of Wakanda. Black Panther director Ryan Coogler is attached to the series as part of a 5-year deal between his Proximity Media company and Disney. Coogler, in a statement, said, quote, "It's an honor to be partnering with the Walt Disney Company. Working with them on Black Panther was a dream come true. As avid consumers of television, we couldn't be happier to be launching our television business with Bob Iger, Dana Walden, and all the amazing studios under the Disney umbrella. No word on when the series is expected, but it will probably be somewhere around the premiere date of Marvel's Black Panther 2, which is currently scheduled for July 8th, 2022. Black Knight is getting a revamp thanks to writer Simon Spurrier. Now, Black Knight, aka Dane Whitman, was one of the company's oldest series dating back to 1967's Avengers number 47. He led teams of Avengers and even had his own series, but never really got a good latch on to the audience. Now he's back with a one-shot called King in Black, Black Knight, which ties into the King in Black event. Spurrier told Newsarama in an interview, quote, "One of the things that fascinates me about the character is how conflicted and complex his backstory has been. In this one shot, we'll find him trying and failing to pretend he's totally okay, totally happy with the way his life is going. Now he's developed these absurd strategies to just keep rolling, to keep playing the part of this faux medieval swashbuckler, when in fact he's having a full-on crisis of confidence and identity. He doesn't know where he fits into the heroing world, and it quickly becomes clear he doesn't even really understand his own abilities and the things that make him special," unquote. Now, the Black Knight will be returning in the upcoming miniseries Black Knight: Curse of the Ebony Blade. Marvel has a new version of its Marvel Masterworks line that is aimed at being more accessible. The new Masterworks line will be called Mighty Marvel Masterworks, and the line will be published in a new smaller size format measuring 6x9, like the size of a digest-style magazine. The first wave of releases will collect the origin and early adventures of Spider-Man, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. The new line of Mighty Marvel Masterworks debuts in June. WandaVision's Randall Park has revealed that he's been vaccinated for quite a while now after having taken part in a COVID vaccine trial last year. Speaking on CBS's The Talk, he said, quote, "I just found out that I've been vaccinated against COVID since September of last year. And, I was thinking, oh, that's interesting. Then I found out it was near my home, not far, and I was bored because it was the pandemic. I was stuck in the house, and I was like, maybe I should donate my body to science. I figured it would be my way to kind of fight this thing happening throughout the world, so I enlisted in the trial. And I didn't know if I got the placebo or the actual vaccine, but I just found out yesterday that I got the vaccine," unquote. Have you got your vaccine? If not, be sure to get it. Don Cheadle's War Machine will be making an appearance in Disney Plus's next Marvel series, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which premieres this March. Cheadle, speaking with Bro Bible's post-credit podcast, said, quote, "That's some of the fun of the MCU, that we all get to show up in each other's stories, and there are ways that we're cross-platforming these characters, and they become storylines, sometimes in the movies, and then these storylines in the movies become storylines in the shows. It's really a fun and interesting and, by all imagination, completely open-ended. This can go anywhere. It's great. I can't wait to get to the room with the writers and figure out how all these things connecting Armor Wars to the MCU happen. Rhodey shows up in Winter Soldier and Falcon show, so it can be a lot," unquote. Now, let's go on to the geek news.
I am Paul Brucher.
Now we begin geek news with Uno, the movie. No, I'm not making a joke. I'm serious. Uno, the card game, the movie. Mattel is developing a live-action heist comedy based around the card game Uno. The movie will be written by Marcy Kelly and will star rapper Lil Yachty. Yachty will also produce along with Quality Films. Mattel's Films' Robbie Brenner said about the project, quote, "At Mattel Films, we are looking to explore stories that bring our brands to life in unexpected ways. Uno is a game that transcends generations and cultures. We are looking forward to partnering with Lil Yachty, as well as with Coach P and Brian Shear, to transform the classic Uno game into a comic action adventure," unquote. Uno joins other Mattel films in the works, including those based on American Girl, Barbie, Hot Wheels, The Magic 8 Ball, Major Mason, Masters of the Universe, Thompson Friends, The Viewmaster, and Wishbone. Anyway, Garth Ennis is back with a new 8-part miniseries called Marjorie Finnegan. The comic will be illustrated by Goran Staduska. The comic follows temporal criminal Marjorie Finnegan as she travels through time looking for ways to make money and stay ahead of the time police and her creepy ex. In a statement, Garth said, quote, "Time travel inspires endless possibilities for all kinds of fun, and if there's one thing Marge likes, it's fun. This is my own spin on the time travel tale, with a twist or two that occurred while I was thinking about the conundrums that temporal mischief can inspire. It's got Marge herself, the fun-loving gal, who should be fine as long as she doesn't slow down long enough to notice the chaos she's causing. A villain so evil he looks like Satan, another one who started making trouble back in the womb, a guy who's just ahead, and dinosaurs. Really, it's hard to go wrong with dinosaurs, especially smart ones, but just in case, let's throw in a time cop with a malfunctioning sex toy as well," unquote. Now, this comic will be published by AWA Studios, and issue 1 goes on sale on May 5th. The Hollywood Reporter reports that Friday the 13th producer Sean Cunningham has launched a new lawsuit over profits from the horror movie series. In a complaint filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, he says that Paramount and Warner Brothers, the studios that have distributed the films, have systematically misaccounted contingent compensation. Mr. Cunningham is already in the midst of another battle with writer Victor Miller over the rights. The Friday the 13th movie franchise has grossed more than $129 million, but according to the complaint, Cunningham says audits have revealed that there's improper deductions of fees and bonuses, undervalued licenses, and underreporting of merchandise revenues and pay TV income, and much more. He alleges that the studios have redacted their package license agreements, preventing him from fully grasping the flow of money. Olivia Colman and Matt Smith will be teaming up to bring an animated Superworm special for the BBC. Superworm is based on the children's book by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler. Coleman will narrate the special, and Matt Smith will play Superworm. Now, the story centers on Superworm, a heroic worm who finds himself kidnapped by Wizard Lizard and the Crow. And the special will probably air on BBC One this Christmas. Disney's Frozen helped researchers solve a 62-year-old cold case. The Disney movie solves something called the Dyatlov Pass incident. Now, here's what happened. A team of students and their instructor went on a mountaineering expedition in the Ural Mountains in 1959. Now, what followed was pretty horrific. Their tent was found after the snowstorm ripped open from the inside, and there were bodies scattered all around the nearby areas with traumatic injuries. People wondered how this could have occurred with no witnesses, and soon conspiracy theories began to bubble up from all sides. Now, fast forward to 2013, Johan Fuom of the Snow Avalanche Simulation Laboratory was amazed at how Disney was able to make such realistic snow. So he contacted the animators and met with them, and obtained a version of the snow animation code for his avalanche simulations. Guillaume was then able to figure out what happened. Now, in this case, the bodies of the travelers were found with extreme injuries involving blunt force puncture wounds and cracked open skulls. It turns out that when a wall of snow hits a precise angle, that ice can be like a projectile. With the data in hand, you could build a model to explain these gruesome injuries with a very normal avalanche. The displacement of the bodies could be the result of some of the students trying to drag their friends to safety instead of merely abandoning the camp. We close out, of course, with some sad news. Mark Wilmore, producer and writer on The Simpsons and brother of comedian Larry Wilmore, has passed away from complications due to COVID-19. His death was confirmed by his brother Larry on Twitter, saying, quote, "My sweet, sweet brother Mark Edward Wilmore passed away last night while battling COVID and other conditions that have had him in pain for many years. My brother was the kindest, gentlest, funniest lion of an angel I've ever known. I love you, little brother," unquote. Now, Larry started out as a writer on, Mark started out as a writer on the sketch comedy series In Living Color, and became a cast member in the show's last season. Now, after that, he wrote for The Tonight Show starring Jay Leno and the animated series The PJs. He joined the writing staff of The Simpsons in season 13, working there from 2005 to 2015, and in 2017 started writing and executive producing the Netflix series F is for Family. In his career, he was nominated for a Primetime Emmy 10 times, winning twice. Mark Wilmore was 57 years old. And finally, actor Dustin Diamond has passed away after battle with stage 4 small cell carcinoma. The child actor started out in the series Good Morning Miss Bliss in 1988 and stayed on for Saved by the Bell and the follow-up series Saved by the Bell, The New Class, and The College Years, which ended in 2000. Unfortunately, Dustin succumbed to the curse that happens to a lot of child actors, falling into struggles with sobriety and personal troubles. He eventually filed for bankruptcy and resorted to selling knockoff Screech merchandise to fans of the show to pay for his bills. He would try to use his fame on shows like Celebrity Boxing, releasing a sex tape, and writing a tell-all book about his Saved by the Bell experience. His life unfortunately devolved into failed marriages and multiple arrests for weapons possessions and disorderly conduct, which led to several months in prison. He even tried professional wrestling. His final acting gig was an appearance as himself on the Adult Swim show Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. Dustin Diamond passed away on February 1st. He was 44 years old. And that brings us to the end of the comic book news. Now, be sure to check us out on social media. We're at Twitter at Multiverse Tom. We're also on Facebook and Instagram as well. And if you'd like to contribute some money to the show or check out our show notes, visit our TeePublic store and much, much more, go over to the brand new multiversetonight.com. I think you'll really like the way the site looks now and how more accessible it is. If you're a subscriber, please be sure to share it with your friends. And if you're brand new to the show, thank you very much. Be sure to subscribe and leave us with some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Now, special thanks to Shane Ivers for the intro music and Lobo Loco for the outro theme music. Thanks for watching the comic book edition of Multiverse Tonight. We'll be back in 2 weeks with brand new sci-fi and comic book editions. Now, please exit the universe in an orderly fashion. Good night. Multiverse Tonight is a production of Half-Baked Genre Productions, copyright 2021, all rights reserved. Is it for today. It's gone about an hour. Pretty good. Shows each came in about 25 minutes apiece. And looking outside, looks like there's still snow in the air. I think it's kind of very lightly snowing right now. Anyway, well, I've got to get to editing the show and getting something more substantial in my tummy. So, let me leave you with a question. From our Poddex interview doc here, let's see what question we get. What was your first screen name? You know, I don't know that, because that might be your current screen name. Here you go. Leave this in the chat or tweet me with it. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for? Yeah. I don't know. And when I die,